Good day everyone, I am 𝗔𝗁. The coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic is the defining global health crisis of our time and the most significant challenge we have faced since World War II. Since its emergence in Asia in 2019, the virus has spread to every continent except Antarctica. We have now reached the tragic milestone of 3 million deaths, and the human family is suffering under an intolerable burden of loss. Furthermore, the virus spread is prevalent everywhere. I am sure we have asked this question. How does the virus spread from one place to another? Let us watch some videos for more information.
Once again, congrats for your promotion.
Thank you so much for coming.
You know, it's so nice to reunite with your friends for a long time.
I know, right? Especially when you're alone during quarantine. Can't think of that.
I really hope that we can make this happen again.
Maybe that's not a good idea?
The next morning.
As you saw on the video, it is about social gatherings with no social distancing. Being with people you know and do not know from distant places can get infected with COVID-19. They may spread the virus in the area of gathering and infecting most, if not all, people.
Hi, Kuya. How much is the book nga ulit?
670 po, madam.
That's the final presyo na ba, Kuya? You said sa message kasi na it's 370 pesos.
Ma'am, nagkamali lang po yata kayo.
There's no cover naman, Kuya. Why so mahal? Second hand, remember? And Kuya, kasi diba we have usapan?
Sagad na yan, ma'am. Marami rin naman kasing naghahanap. Swerte na nga po kayo, nakakita kayo.
There's punit pa, oh. Why so mahal? The price is not makatarungan.
Ma'am, konti na nga lang po yung tubo ko dyan. Sagad na po talaga yan, ma'am. Mura na po talaga yan.
Kuya, bakit maarte? Bahala ka dyan, Kuya. Ano ba yun? Upo ng upo?
Not wearing the necessary protection from the virus significantly increases the risk of getting the virus. You are exposing the entryway for the virus, our nose, our mouth, and our eyes. That way, the virus can quickly enter the body and cause infection.
Ang bango naman ng pizza na to. Sana... Grabe, bigla akong inuubo. Siguro baka sa usok lang naman.
Many hours later.
Ganun po, nandito na yung delivery nyo. Salamat kuya, ingat ka. Sige boss, daling ko na. Buti na lang yung order na to. Kanina pa kasi ako ubo ng ubo eh.
People in different areas are dining inside the same space. Eating and drinking require removing your masks. The ventilation flow in restaurants can cause the droplets to spread more than 6 feet, allowing you at a greater risk of contracting the virus. Poor ventilation in restaurants also increases the chances, since it may cause the virus to accumulate in the air. Another point, social distancing is often challenging to maintain in restaurants, and people need to talk louder, thus contributing to the production of viral aerosols in the air. Surface transmission is a little bit less risky because it is not the main passageway of getting COVID-19. However, it is not clear what proportion of COVID-19 infections are acquired through surface transmission. There have been few reports of COVID-19 cases potentially attributed to this specific transmission.
Attending social gatherings increases the risk of getting COVID-19. According to TMA, on a risk scale of 1 to 10, going camping has a risk level of 2. Going to a library or museum has a risk level of 4, as well as walking in a busy downtown. Attending a backyard barbecue, going to the beach, and going to the mall all have a risk level of 5. Swimming in a public pool has a risk level of 6. Playing basketball or football and attending a wedding or a funeral has a risk level of 7. And going to an amusement park has a risk level of 8. Activities with a high risk level of 9 include attending a large music concert, going to a sports stadium, and attending religious services. Physical distancing is important to prevent the spread of COVID-19. Based on a systematic review of 172 studies, there is a 12.8% chance of transmission if there is a distance less than 1 meter from each other, and 2.6% chance of transmission if there is 1 meter or more. There is a high transmission probability when both a COVID-19 carrier and a healthy person are not wearing face masks. There is a low transmission probability if the COVID-19 carrier is wearing a face mask. And the lowest transmission probability is when both the COVID-19 carrier and a healthy person are wearing face masks. Without face masks, there is 17.4% chances of transmission, and there's 3.1% chances of transmission when face masks are worn. The use of eye protection lowers the contraction of COVID-19 from 16% to 5.5%. Eating inside a restaurant has a risk level of 7 out of 10, while eating outside the establishment has a risk level of 4. Having dinner at someone else's house has a risk level of 5. Eating at a buffet has a risk level of 8, and going to a bar has a risk level of 9. As of June 2020, there is an increase of orders using a food delivery app in the Philippines. 71% of the respondents started using a food delivery app because of the imposed closure of restaurants. 61% because their family is practicing social distancing and wanted to minimize the time spent outside their homes. 42% were under quarantine and cannot leave their homes. 27% responded because they enjoy a variety of food. 15% had less time to cook because of more responsibilities at home. 4% stated they cannot cook, and 1% for other reasons. Surface transmission is also possible. Opening the mail has the lowest risk level, 1 out of 10. Pumping gasoline has a risk level of 2. And grocery shopping has a risk level of 3. Hugging or shaking hands has a risk level of 7. Out of 17 survey samples in hospital rooms of infected patients, 65% of the floor, 60% of air exhaust vents, 59% of bed rail, 47% of locker handles were all contaminated. Cardiac table, electric switch, chair, toilet seat, and flush were also found contaminated.
Of course, we want to avoid these risks. Arian will guide us in suggestions on how to prevent getting COVID-19. Arian?
The world starts to be alarmed again as the COVID-19 cases and deaths continues to rapidly increase once more. As of now, there are 150 million infected cases and 3.16 million deaths worldwide. As a result of this, the government in different countries suggested to strengthen the implementation of health protocols to ensure the health of each citizens, as this will lower the transmission of this virus. According to the World Health Organization, these are the basic steps in preventing others and you from having a virus. First, wear a face mask. Wearing a mask is a natural part of social interaction. To render masks as effective as possible, they must be used, stored, and cleaned or disposed properly. Here's how to put on a mask properly. Wash your hands before and after putting on your mask, as well as before and after removing it and touching it anytime. When you remove a mask, store it in a clean plastic bag and wash it every day, whether it's a cloth mask or throw it away if it's a surgical mask in a trash bin. Bulbs should not be used with masks. These are the effectivity rate of different kinds of masks. First is the N95, K95, and other respirator, which can filter out 95% of particles from the air breathed in. Next, disposable surgical masks, which can filter out about 60% of smaller and blood particles. Cloth mask with filter which can increase filtration efficiency from 35% to nearly 70%. Wear a face shield. Face shields will lower the chances of transmission of COVID-19. Maintain social distancing. Keeping at least a 1 meter gap between yourself and others will avoid being infected when they cough, sneeze, or talk. When you are inside, keep a greater distance between yourself and others. The greater the distance, the better. According to Dr. Romele Alfonso of the PSPHP, 2 meters of distancing is equals to 91% reduction in your chances of getting infected, while 3 meters lowers your chances by 96%. An N95 mask reduces chances of getting infected by 96%, while masks made from cloth or are not N95 lower the chance of infection by 67%. Wearing an eye shield or other eye protection lower chances by additional 78%, while there is a lower chance of infection in an open area than in a closed one. Using all of this will have 99.9% reduction in transmission. Wash your hands often. Use an alcohol-based hand rub or soap and water to clean your hands regularly and carefully. This kills germs like viruses that may be present on your hands. Keep your hands away from your eyes, nose, and mouth. Hands come into contact with a variety of surfaces and can pick up the viruses. When your hands are infected, the virus will spread to your eyes, nose, and mouth. The virus will then invade your body. If you cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and nose with your bent elbow or the tissue. After that, throw away the used tissue in a closed bin and wash your face. You will protect those around you from viruses that cause cold and flu and COVID-19 by practicing good respiratory hygiene. Avoid the 3 seats, spaces that are closed, crowded, or involve close contact. Outbreaks have been reported in restaurant cough practices, fitness classes, nightclubs, offices, and places of worship where people have gathered, often in a crowded indoor setting where they talk loudly, shout, breathe heavily, or sing. In crowded and poorly ventilated spaces where infected people spend long periods of time together in close proximity, the risk of contracting COVID-19 is higher, since the virus tends to spread more quickly through respiratory droplets or aerosol. In these conditions, taking precautions is even more necessary. Outdoor gatherings are better than indoor gatherings, particularly if the indoor space is limited and there is no access to fresh air. If you can, avoid crowded or indoor conditions, but if you can't, then go outside and open a window because indoor places increase the amount of natural ventilation. Know the full range of symptoms of COVID-19. Fever, dry, cough, and exhaustion are the most COVID-19 symptoms. Loss of taste or scent, aches, pains, fever, sore throat, nasal congestion, red eyes, diarrhea, or skin rash are some of the less common symptoms that may affect some patients. Stay home and self-isolate even if you have minor symptoms such as cough, headache, mild fever until you recover. For guidance, contact your healthcare provider or hotline. Request the materials that may be sent to you. Wear a medical mask if you need to leave the house or have someone close by to prevent infecting anyone. If you have a fever, a cough, or are having trouble breathing, see a doctor right away. If you may, call first, then follow the instruction of your local health authority. Lastly, vaccines. Russia's Sputnik V vaccine has efficacy rate of 91.4% and has $10 per dose. Moderna has efficacy rate of 95%, apparently 100% of preventing hospitalization and death, and has $25 to $37 per dose. Pfizer-BioNTech has efficacy rate of 95% and apparently 100% of preventing hospitalization and death, and has $19.50 per dose. AstraZeneca currently has efficacy rate of about 70% overall and has $2.15 in the UE, $3 to $4 in the UK, and $5.25 in South Africa. Keep up with the latest information from reputable outlets such as the World Health Organization or the local and national Health authorities, local, state, even federal governments, as well as public health units are the best sources of information about what residents in your area can do to protect themselves. Remember to stay home to save lives.